What's up, guys? Andrew here, wagertalk.com. This is the Every Game on the Board podcast for CFL Canadian Football League, week number 10. Yes, I understand the NFL is almost here. In fact, preseason is here. College football is almost here. But how about we continue to build the bankrolls with the Canadian Football League? And that starts here in week 10. Let's continue. I'm going to give you guys a play in every single game, whether it's a side, a prop look, a total, a first half play. We're going to try and get you guys some winners this week in week 10 in the CFL. If you want a month of all my plays, not just CFL, but NFL preseason, baseball, UFC, and more, use the promo code you see on the screen, EGOTB175. That's EGOTB175, of course, for every game on the board. That will give you every play across all sports for $175. Off a big 5% winner last week. And guys, I don't have just one. I have two 5% plays going this week in the CFL. Let's start things off with the first game of the week. We have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers visiting the Edmonton Elks. Anybody that knows anything about the CFL and the CFL betting market right now, you guys know the Elks have not done well at home. They are on an atrocious streak. I mean, you're talking about a team that lost 20, 21, 22 straight games at home. And even worse, they're not covering the spread either. I mean, this isn't just straight up losses. They are not covering the spread. They find themselves as current 12/12.5 point underdogs at home against Winnipeg. Winnipeg coming off that game against BC where they put up 50 points in a big rivalry game. They got revenge against the Lions here. Edmonton, they're off a bye, and I've been trying to bet more on teams off a bye. In the CFL, it's been a very successful thing to do. But do you want to do it with the Elks? That is the big question. And in a lot of the recent wins for Winnipeg, they've been winning by this many points anyway. We've even seen Edmonton Elks be as high as 16.5 point underdogs. So you ask yourself, is 12 points really enough? My answer is no. But we did see a change at the offensive coordinator position for the Elks. And we're also seeing a new quarterback in play for the Elks with Trey Ford behind center. I like points in this one. I feel like the week off will help things out for Edmonton. New OC has a chance to prove himself. And Trey Ford will be hungry to make a name for himself and earn the starting position for the Edmonton Elks. So I like the over, but more importantly, I like the first half over, guys. First half over 22.5. I am a bit fearful that if Winnipeg gets a big lead, they might just run the ball down and we might not see a lot of points in the second half. But I do expect fireworks early and often in the first game of CFL week 10 between Winnipeg and Edmonton. First half over 22.5. Let's keep things going, guys. Don't forget EGOTB, $175. That's where you'll get all access, every single sport, 1 month pass from me. We're talking CFL, MLB, UFC, NFL, every sport that I bet, every bet I personally make, you will get EGOTB 175. Use that promo code. Leave a like on this video. Let's keep things going with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. Current number, home team, Montreal -5 at home here. This is a team that's played very well at home, dealing with some injuries. We kind of have two interesting scenarios here. We've got Cody Fajardo, Jason Moss, of course, coach there for Montreal. We've got Cody Fajardo, quarterback for Montreal. Both those guys came from Saskatchewan in the offseason. So Saskatchewan said, all right, guys, we don't want you anymore. You can go somewhere else. Moss and Fajardo both find themselves in Montreal together. You could say they will be motivated going to this one, but Fajardo's banged up. He has not been practicing. They've had all three quarterbacks taking reps for the Alouettes this week. If Fajardo does play, he won't be as mobile. He will be dealing with some injuries. But here's the deal for Saskatchewan. They play in BC. Then they travel across the country to the far East Coast for Touchdown Atlantic to my home city in Halifax. And then they go back to Saskatchewan for a home game, win it last week against Ottawa. And then they go back east again in a short week scenario against the Montreal Alouettes this week. Guys, despite the injuries for William Stanback and Cody Fajardo, I feel like what will affect Saskatchewan the most with the short week and the travel will be their defense. Mason Fine has looked good for them at the quarterback position. He's establishing chemistry with his receivers. Montreal has been putting up points lately. Slight lean to the over in this one as well. And we'll take Saskatchewan in the first half. I feel like that's too many points here. We'll keep things going with the Every Game on the Board podcast. Quick drink, guys. Dealing with a little bit of a tickle in my throat. We'll keep things going and try and rattle off a pick. And I will say, guys, if you can find a prop on this, look at the Mason Fine passing yard props, because they're going to look to do that as much as they possibly can. And William Stanback, if he's not in there, look for some rushing props and look at the depth positions for the Alouettes. They're going to want to slow the pace down. I'm not so sure they can against Saskatchewan. Moving things down to game 3, we have Calgary and the BC Lions. This is a tale of two different teams right now. One team is in a big bounce back spot. Like I said, BC got smashed against the Argos. BC got smashed against Winnipeg. But Calgary, they took down the Argos and broke their undefeated streak, both straight up and ATS. I kind of see this as a buy low spot on BC and a sell high spot on Calgary. We'll see what happens in that one. But when it comes down to it, I'm actually looking at the first half under. I think BC isn't being talked about enough this year for their defense. In games, they've played very well. In games, they've dominated. And it's not just been their offense. It's been their defense playing very well. Now, Calgary, they're involved in lots of shootouts, but I believe they'll start running the ball a lot more. So I'm looking for the first half under here. Lean towards the home team in the first half. BC is a team that knows how to bounce back. 5-0 ATS, their last 5 games off an ATS loss and straight up loss. They're a team that knows how to bounce back. Now, Ottawa, Toronto, last game of the week. I'll keep things very quick. It is the lowest total on the board. We're seeing 44.5. At one point, it was 42, 43. People were worrying about Chad Kelly and his health. At one point, we saw plus 10.5 as far as this Ottawa team is concerned. Now we're seeing the Argos favored by 7.5. It's gone all over the place. We saw 10.5, 4.5, 7.5 now. I believe the play is jumping in now on the under 44.5 in this one. Chad Kelly, if he's out there, I don't think he's fully healthy. So I don't think he'll be running the ball as much. I don't think he'll be able to make as many plays as he usually does. But I think with AJ Ouellette and Andrew Harris, two of the best running backs in the league, they will slow the game down, run the ball a lot, and kind of win a lower scoring defensive game. Now, Ottawa, I feel like Dustin Crumb's become a little bit predictable. So we'll see what happens when Dustin Crum plays another elite team like Toronto. Ottawa knocked off Winnipeg. They surprised them. I'm not so sure they can do it against Toronto, but lots of weird line movement in that game, guys. We saw open 10.5 point favorites for the Argos, down to 4.5, and now back to 7.5 juiced to the home team here with the Argos. I'll put my money on the under. We'll take the under here. 44.5 Red Blacks and Argos. Guys, please leave a like on this video if you enjoy all these picks. Follow me on Twitter at McInnis Picks and promo code EGOTB. If you're interested, guys, check it out. $175 for a month. If not, I have not one, but two 5% plays going this week in the CFL. Join me. Let's cash some tickets and build that bankroll for the NFL season. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.